Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about measurements. Specifically, we are talking about comparative measurements. Comparative measurements is what we care about here. We're not going to worry about the actual details. We just want to make sure that you can tell the difference between, let's say, a gallon and a liter, or a pound and a gram, or a liter and a milliliter, so that you can get some idea of difference in comparisons. Right? Now you all should know what a foot looks like. A foot looks like a shoe. Your foot. Of course, our feet are different sizes, but approximately that's how big a foot is. So as you can see up here, we actually have a ruler, and our ruler shows us how big a foot is, more or less. All right, so if I look at this ruler above, how many inches are in a foot? You definitely should know that. You definitely should know that there are 12 inches in a foot. Okay, if you don't know that, memorize it. There are not 10 inches in a foot, there are 12 inches in a foot, so make sure you know that. If something is 3 feet long, how many inches is that? Yeah, you should be able to do that. You should be able to do that in your head. That's 36 inches, and 36 inches is also known as what unit of measure? You should know what 3 feet is. What is it? Come on, wait for it. You got it? Yeah, great. It's a yard. All right, so a yard is 3 feet long. Also, if something is a third of a foot long, how many inches in it? You should be able to do that. You should be able to say, well, if a foot is 12 inches long and a third of that would be 4 inches, and 4 inches plus 4 inches plus 4 inches, or 4 inches times 3 gives me a total of 12 inches, which is a foot. Right? How big is a gram versus how big is a pound? Again, you should have this. This is stuff that you've seen before. This isn't something that's new. A gram is simply about the weight of a paperclip. All right, so it's not very much. It's a very, very small amount. In fact, there are over 400 grams in a pound. A pound would be a pound of butter. And if you look over here, you can see that the net weight over here says that it's a pound. 1 lb is 1 pound. All right, so a pound of butter versus a paperclip. So you should be able to say, well, a paperclip weighs very, very little. A pound weighs a lot more than a gram does. So you should be able to kind of have that comparative measurement in your mind. Gallons. Gallons, you should know what a gallon of milk looks like. And this thing over here, liters you're not as familiar with, but liters you've certainly talked about in other classes, but let's look at it in our daily life. You can go out and buy a 2-liter bottle of Coke. Well, if you think about a gallon versus a 2-liter bottle of Coke, which one's bigger? Yeah, definitely a gallon is. So a gallon's a lot bigger than a 2-liter bottle, and if you take the 2-liter bottle, there are things you can buy in 1-liter bottles like water. That's a pretty large bottle of water, but it's essentially half of a 2-liter bottle. All right. So if you think of comparative sizes, 2 liters is bigger than 1 liter. 1 liter is definitely smaller than a gallon. In fact, they're between 3 and 4 liters in a gallon. So a liter is definitely smaller than a gallon. So you should be able to, again, realize that that's stuff that you've seen before. So how long is a meter? Well, here's a young lady standing with a meter stick. All right, so you can see that a meter is about half of her height. So it's about 3 feet long, ballpark. Okay, it's slightly longer than 3 feet, but it is close to 3 feet. It's close to a yard. A meter is slightly longer than a yard. All right. Now, we have to look at meters and centimeters and millimeters. Now, it's important that you realize when you look at these things, notice right here, if I can do this very carefully, you'll notice it says centimeter, all right? And a centimeter goes from here to here. Well, compare that to an inch, all right? Clearly, a centimeter is less than an inch. In fact, they're about 2.5 centimeters, not exactly, but about 2.5 centimeters in 1 inch. Right, a centimeter is about as wide as your little fingernail. Right, just to kind of give you a sense. These are, again, things you played with, things you've worked with before. Right, so a meter is going to be 100 of those. 100 centimeters. All right, so that's again about 3 feet, a little bit longer than 3 feet. And how big is a millimeter? Well, each one of these little lines up here that you see up here, each one of those is a millimeter. So there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. And there are 100 centimeters. There are 10, let's write that down. 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. And there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So that means there are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So you should be able to figure that out. All right, and we're going to talk about that in different podcasts on metric prefixes, but our purpose here is just simply to get you to have a sense of the difference in scale of things. Okay. We also have things called kilometers, and again, I just want to touch on this. The drumstick dash, if you run the drumstick dash over Thanksgiving in downtown Roanoke, the drumstick dash is a 5K or 5 kilometers. Kilo means 1,000. So there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So a kilometer is rather long. It's something that people run, so our runners know about that. All right, but a kilometer is less than a mile. All right, the 5K race or a 5-kilometer race is only 3.2 miles. All right, so 1 mile is 5,280 feet. 1 kilometer is a little over 3,000 feet. Again, I'm not going into exact numbers here, but you should know that a kilometer is shorter than a mile. So that's something you should know. Again, these are things that you've hit in other classes prior to this one. It's stuff that you should have in your head. Right? Liters and milliliters, again, you've seen milliliters. If you look at the thing on the left, this is a graduated cylinder, and this thing here is a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder. You can see it says 100 milliliter right there. All right. This other one over here on the right is only a 25 milliliter graduated cylinder, but again, notice it says milliliters over here, so it's important that you recognize those things. Milliliters, there are milli. Milli means thousandth, and there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. All right, so you think of that Aquafina bottle we looked at a moment ago. There are 1,000 of these little milliliters in a liter. All right, so just kind of hitting this one last time, and again, you'll see this in a different podcast if you need to watch it. If there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter, notice milli. There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. It stands to reason there should be 1,000 milli things in a thing, so the thing doesn't matter. So it can be meters. It can be, oh, that was good, Skip. There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. There are 1,000 milliliters. I should say liters in a liter, and there are 1,000 milligrams in a gram. So kilo is the same concept. A meter is smaller than a kilometer. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. There are 1,000 things in a kilo thing. So again, it does not matter what the thing is. It can be meters, it can be grams, it can be liters, but there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer, 1,000 grams in a kilogram, and 1,000 liters in a kiloliter. All right. So kind of in summary, you need to know that millimeters are smaller than centimeters. Right? There happen to be 10 millimeters in a centimeter. Centimeters are smaller than meters. All right. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. Meters are smaller than kilometers. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. And the same applies to liters and to grams and to, frankly, anything else. The units that you need to think of for U.S. measurements are right here. All right. Liters are smaller than gallons. So you kind of need to know that. And you need to know that kilometers are smaller than miles. That's it.